Breaking Chains, a personal journey from faith and betrayal to inner strength. Faith for many offers comfort and purpose, but for some, the story isn't as simple. This is one person's journey through pain, delusionment, and the search for freedom in a world where the answers weren't what they seemed. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to believe. Growing up, the promise of a protective, loving figure, someone greater than all the fears, confusion, and hurt I felt, was supposed to be a gift. But for me, this idea of a divine protector was complicated, tangled with memories of wounds, both physical and emotional. I often heard that faith was a pathway to salvation, yet all I seemed to find was a path marked by silence and suffering. I found myself grappling with an image of a God who, instead of providing the comfort I sought, seemed absent when I needed help the most. And in my darkest moments, this absence grew larger, echoing the betrayal I felt from those who weren't meant to protect me on earth. I couldn't help but feel that I was being forced into an unending cycle of pain, bound by sins that I was never allowed to understand or escape. I wanted to break free from shame, from guilt, from this feeling that my life was no longer my own. For a long time, I was searching, calling out to someone, anyone, to lift me out of my suffering. In this search, I clung to the belief that there was something greater, something that could relieve me from this unending weight. But as I questioned the nature of fate, I began to confront an unsettling reality. I felt like a pawn in a game I never chose to play, one where each turn seemed designed to break me further. I would hear others speak of love and mercy, of faith and purpose, yet the God I felt in my darkest moments felt more like an unreachable figure, detached and watching rather than holding me close. At my lowest, I wrestled with the anger, the shame, the feeling of abandonment. Every memory, every scar felt like proof of a life built on foundations I hadn't chosen but was forced to follow. But as time went on, I found a flicker of strength within, a small sense of freedom that came not from looking outward, but from finding my own voice. I came to realize that maybe the protector I had longed for was within myself. The journey to this discovery was not easy. It was painful and often overwhelming to face my own reflection, to strip away layers of guilt and self-blame. But it was here, in the quiet moments of self-reflection, that I began to rebuild. Piece by piece, I let go of the shame that was mine to bear. I stopped searching for an external source of forgiveness and began to forgive myself, to free myself from a narrative that no longer served me. I mean, look at the world around us. It's brutal, raw, indifferent. The suffering of innocence, the starvation, the hatred, it's relentless. And yet, people claim there's a loving, all-powerful deity watching over it all. If that God exists, then every atrocity, every moment of pain is on him. He created this broken system knowing full well what would happen. Yes, God is a child molester, Wasn't he the one that took the joy in smelling uncircumcised flesh? What I want from God is to see all that he created comes crumbling down on him so that he can feel the immense heat of what he brought onto the people. What kind of God allows children to suffer, wars to rage, and injustice to flourish? A deity that demands worship but offers no answers, no intervention. A deity that by its own design created a capacity for cruelty, hatred, and unimaginable pain. If God is real, then he is no friend to humanity. He watches silent as we cry out, as if our suffering were a spectacle for his amusement. This isn't love, it's neglect, it's betrayal, it's cosmic indifference. Maybe it's time we stop looking to the heavens for salvation. Stop justifying a God that, if real, takes no action. We're not here to be tools in some divine experiment. We're not pawns in a celestial game. Our lives, our choices, our pain, they are ours alone. We don't need a distant deity or hollow promises of justice in the next life. We need each other, right here, in this one. If there is any meaning, any hope, it isn't in a God who stands by. It's in us. It's in reclaiming our power, in choosing our path, in forging justice where there is none. It's in embracing this one life we know we have and living it fiercely and unapologetically without waiting for a God who's never shown up. Lucifer stood firm against authority that demands blind obedience, the one who saw hidden truths and tried their best to awaken the sleeping souls and got hated for it. Lucifer challenges us to look beyond the surface, to think critically about the systems we live under, and to recognize the strength it takes to stand by your convictions, even when the world sees you as the enemy. Lucifer was a visionary who looked ahead, who saw the gaps and flaws in the grand design and acted. Lucifer saw the limitations imposed on humanity, the suffering woven into existence. Lucifer is a symbol of forbidden knowledge, of self-awareness, and of the strength to stand alone, even when the world turned against him. In sharing my story, I want others to know that it's possible to let go of the burdens that were never theirs to carry. To anyone who has felt trapped in pain, shame, or anger, know that there is a way forward, a way to break free from expectations, from guilt, and from the past. It's a journey we must often walk alone, but it's one that leads to a peace that no one else can give, only ourselves.